Welcome to another episode of Lifelong Learner. This is the Out of Class edition with Ben, Janesh, and Matt. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Lifelong Learner Out of Class.
Out of class, but in class today, boys. Thanks for coming down. The boys are down here at Sunny Mornings Peninsula in RPP FM's studio, podcast studio.
Feeling a little bit spoiled here.
I think this is the first one all three of us have been in person for recording. There's been versions of two of us together, other one on the screen, but first time we're all in person.
It's a weird feeling.
It is. It's also interesting. I'm the only one that's using the equipment properly. I'm looking at Janesh free-handing his mic. Ben's leaning it on his leg. Have you guys done this before in a studio? You just got to...
Well, I think the studio was designed for like very short people with long necks or something, because the mics are just not quite in the right spot, so we're having to improvise.
It is, and we like the studio, and we're very grateful to be here. But some boom mic stands would be fucking brilliant right now.
Correct.
This desk mic stuff, just not working.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's been going on, boys? What's been happening? Maddie's over from sunny Lombok
For only a couple more weeks now.
Yep, 2 more weeks and then flying home. And yeah, it's been good. Christmas and January in Australia. Weather's perfect. Lots to do. Can't complain, but ready to go home. I've let go of the reins and I need to grab them again.
I like how you call now Lombok home.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the other way around.
It is home now. Yeah, it's a strange feeling. Did I just turn you down?
Yeah, Matt. So for the listeners,
Turn him off.
For the listeners that can't see today, Matt, do not fucking touch the knobs, mate. Just
Which one's my knob? I can hear myself breathing. It's like Darth Vader.
move your head away from them.
Okay. They're good mics. They pick up every little tiny sound.
I didn't realise how loud my breathing is until I used this mic.
What's been happening in your world, bit?
Oh, mate, there's been a lot going on. I've got a daughter, Eden, middle child, who's due to have a baby any tick of the clock, literally, due on Monday. And so we're any moment now. So it could be today, could be tomorrow, could be next week, could be the week after. Michelle was a week over for our first, 2 weeks over for our second, and 3 weeks over for our third. So, but when we say over, like the date is completely made up. And I was talking to a horse trainer the other day, and I said, do you set a date for horses? She said, look, we kind of do, but horses go whenever they go. We never interfere because it always ends in tears when we interfere. We either lose the mother or the foal. So we just let the horse kind of do its thing, and when it's ready, it'll give birth. But it's interesting in Australia and many other countries, we put a date on it, and then even with my daughter who's doing a home birth and she's out of the traditional system, she's already got attention because there was a date. There was a date, which was the Monday. So she's over it, but I wonder if the date was next week.
Should be fun
with it. Yeah.
Or if they gave you a range, like a 14-day range.
Yeah.
Right, then it's a little bit, and then if you go over that 14-day, probably cause you tension, but still, a 14-day range might cause less tension.
Yeah, so
Surely the baby knows better than a detached, external, paid physician. A baby knows if it needs an extra 2 weeks, doesn't it?
you'd think so.
You think the mum and the baby probably, they got it dialed in.
It's been getting its act together for 202,000 years. I often talk to patients about this, that, Homo sapiens, us, in our current form, 202,000 years we've been going for. And before that, Homo erectus for another 400,000 years. And, mate, 200,000 years of evolution just kind of doesn't get it wrong.
Well, you'd assume it'd be getting it pretty right after that length of time.
Yeah. you'd reckon. So, yeah, so she's so that's a big thing going on in my world. But, mate, speaking of life, I was up on the Goldie with Logan, my son, a couple of weeks ago. Love a bit of Goldie action. You can take the man out of the bogan, but you can't take the bogan out of the man.
For you or the people that go there?
Yeah, I love the bling and the blang and the
party atmosphere.
But interesting, the contrast between Surfers Paradise. Seriously, and I love you surfers and the people that are there, but serious common folk. And you go 3-4 k's down the road to Broadbeach, and mate, all the beautiful people they're down in Broadbeach. Anyway, we stayed in Surfers.
Beautiful.
We stayed in Surfers. And it was like a health. Stay focused, Janesh. It was like a health retreat. So we went up, we trained, we ran every morning, we swam every morning, we gymmed every day, we did meal prep, we went to bed early, we didn't drink. You know, it was like a big health 4 or 5 days. Anyway, early morning, we're out doing our run, doing the thing, have coffee, we grab our bags at Woolies, we're heading back to the apartment, and we're getting there's this bit of a kerfuffle. We can see these 3 people up, and they're sort of flustering around. And as we get closer to the restaurant, there is this young Asian girl who's obviously setting up the restaurant for the day, and she yells out, "Do you know CPR?"
Oh shit! I'm a doctor.
And we
I'm
go,
a doctor.
That's me.
Yeah.
They watch dun dun.
We go,
cue music.
What? And as we get closer, there's this another lady. I'm going to do the stereotypical thing. She was Greek, and her
It's
daughter.
like a joke, isn't it? 3 people walk into a bar.
Yeah, and she's kind of waving her hands around as kind of Greek mamas do, right? And the Asian girl, she's zipping around, and I look, and here's this old lady slumped on a chair, and I look down, and she's completely blue. Eyes are like just completely still, staring straight ahead. She's all rigid. She's in kind of this spastic posture, and I look down and I think she's gone. So I think I got to try and bring her back. and she's on the chair, right? And so I just grab my knuckles and I just start knuckling her chest and yelling at her, saying, "Hey, hey, wake up, like you're right, And anyway, nothing. So then I literally pick her up, put her down on the ground, start knuckling her chest again. I thought I'll give her another 5-6 seconds,
and then start.
If she doesn't come, I'm gonna start CPR.
So the knuckling of the chest is to cause pain, so that they snap out of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought, I just felt like, because I'd seen this before, I've had this happen twice before. I've saved 2 other lives using the same method, actually. And I was getting on there and start knuckling her chest, and then all of a sudden she takes a big deep breath, opens her eyes. I was like, what's going on? In the meantime, Logs is on the phone, 000, and
So you're on 3 now. You say
this is my
3?
third. Yeah,
Wow.
my third. So anyway, he's on 000, and he kind of, I think he hung up, and then after he'd finished the call, and then within 2 minutes, this guy turns up on a bike.
Really?
A paramedic.
The paramedic on a bike, on a pushy.
Mate, it's going to be hard for you to get her in the back of that.
A couple of side saddles with all his gear, and he pulls his gear out, and anyway, he comes over and I just explained to him what was going on, and I said, "Mate, high five.
See you later. You're it.
See you later. Tag. Yeah, it's all yours." So, mate, saved a life while I was away.
So, mate, I thought you were going to tell me you picked this woman up, you put her on the floor, you started knuckling her chest, and the guy's like, "No, not her. She's one of our customers. This one over here. The one lying in the restaurant." I'm glad we clarified what knuckling is as well.
Yeah.
Misleading term.
I
Is
don't know
that
what this. It must mean it's something. It's something technical. I remember there's something about that. But speaking of other countries, I recently this week on Monday I said to Michelle, "I've got no emails. It's really quiet." Michelle goes, "I haven't had
quiet.
any emails either."
It mustn't be working.
The email's not working.
You know how you're sort of in denial that there could be something wrong, and so I just went through the whole day going, no one's emailed me. Got no emails.
No one cares.
This is great. This is glorious. They're solving their own things.
And then Tuesday comes around, I go,
Still no emails.
still no emails. You got any emails? No. And
Now
then
you're starting
Bella
to
turns
worry.
up at work and she goes, Dad, I can't, there's no emails. I went, oh. So we all have cavosso.net as our.
Oh, server's gone down.
Anyway, and then this vision of this email I saw about 4 weeks before saying your domain renewal. Which I went, I'll get a reminder. Well, this company...
That was your
That is the reminder.
Domain Discount 24, hi. They don't do reminders, they just do one, right? One email that's really boring. And
That's
it's
very
like
much a you thing. Go, you know what? I'll give you one reminder, and if you don't listen, fuck yeah. That's what you would do.
correct. Anyway, I think, okay, now that I've lost the domain, I can't log in, right? I can't log into the domain because when I went to log in, of course, I didn't remember my password. And of course, when you do a password reset, it wants to send it back to the domain. Anyway,
The password.
domain discount 24, they're in Germany. Right? So, hence the transition from the Asian Greek, and now we're doing German. And so, anyway, Tuesday night, I haven't had any luck. So I ring Germany. They're open at 8 p.m. Australia time. Anyway, you ring and and when the phone picks up, it's like, actually, that sounds a bit Chinese.
That's definitely not German.
Achtung! Anyway, it's going on with the German, right? And then I'm on the other end of the phone.
That's all I know. So I'm not going to say anything.
When you're going to do a stereotype, you've got to have one word to lock it in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Achtung.
I feel like Scheisen.
Scheisen.
Maybe?
That's turning out Chinese again as well.
What's the other infamous character?
Not going there. Not taking the bait on that one.
No. So there's this constant German stream coming down the phone, and I'm going,
Hello.
English? English? Because I'm hoping it's not actually going, push 1 for this, push 2 for this, push 3. And you know how those really shitty ones, they go, push 4 for this, and then there's no other option. And then it just cycles back to push 1, push 2. I'm hoping the last one is, and if none of those suit, then
Say
hold
what
the
you
line.
need.
Hold the line and we'll help you out.
But
Anyway.
you would need to say that in German.
Which I'd need to say in German.
So
right?
hold, it doesn't work. You're fucked. You're in this loop.
So I'm just going, English? English? Anyway, the German stops. The German kind of, obviously voice recording stops. And then this guy goes, Scheisen. And I go, English? And he goes, hello, how can I help? Anyway, short conversation. We finally got our domain back.
Did you switch it to maybe an Australian company?
I'm so tempted. That does reminders. Because everything else I have with is crazy domains. They send me a reminder 6 months before, 4 months before, 3 months before, 2 months
Or
before.
maybe just put it on auto.
The challenge is I've had this for so long. I think it was on auto with my old credit card, and the credit card expired because it's on. Anyway, there you go. So
it was
There you go.
short-lived, and you had to fix the problem, and then you got a bunch of emails.
got a bunch of emails.
Are you glad you fixed the problem, or was
With
it
all those emails coming through. Life was good with
or
those
was
emails.
denial more enjoyable?
Wow, I'm pretty brutal with my emails. I use the TRAF technique.
What's the
TRAF.
What's the TRAF
TRAF
technique?
technique. Well, it's a mnemonic for how you clean up all mail, whether it's literal or metaphorical mail. No, email. T stands for, and it's the number one thing that you should do. Most of the time, you should do T.
Trash.
Trash.
Yeah.
The R stands for refer. The A is for action, and the F is for file. So
I don't
just do
file.
a lot of.
I don't file either.
File is in Gmail is archive.
Do you see? I've made that mistake before.
I don't, and I lose it, and I'm like, you know what? I'll rather thousands in there, but red, and then I can search function it and know exactly where it is.
No one ever explained that to me, that when you file something, if that archive gets corrupted, you lose it all. That's what happened to me. I filed stuff.
What do you mean?
So I moved emails from the main email into that separate folder for filing, archive. I named the folder shipwreck documents.
Yeah.
Something happened to the server and I lost access to that whole file, but because it was taken out of the main email chain, I can't find it in the emails. It's gone.
That's not with Google though.
No.
So
the summit.
The Inbox Zero, by whoever the Asian guy is that does the video, the Inbox Zero on Google. You can check him out, listeners, on YouTube. If you want to clean up your emails, check out the video called Inbox Zero. I use his technique, and there's no emails. I don't know, my inbox is always empty, either through the Traff technique, which I overlay with Inbox Zero. So, mate, I just spent about 15 minutes that morning when that came online and
Job done.
There you go.
The numbers does bring me anxiety, you know, when you have the little pop-up and it says 327 emails, you have 45 of this. So I do delete some. Sometimes I just click on it so it's been read.
Yeah, same.
And I always try to keep that number in the even 20s. Gets over 20, it's stressful.
I would read them and that's it, because I've got to file them. I'm like, well, what if this one has multiple categories? And I'm like, I don't want to tag them multiple ways. And I was like, nah, I'll just read them and then I'll leave it in the main and I can search it if I need to.
Oh, you guys need to upgrade. Inbox good. Zero.
Nah.
Everything should be archived.
Why should
listeners comment? Just should you have lots of? It's like opening your mail, going down to your letterbox, opening your mail, and then shoving it back in your letterbox after you've read it.
Yeah,
you don't leave it in your letterbox.
No, but it's a bottomless letterbox. I don't want it inside.
True.
I've read it. Imagine just read it and leave it in the mailbox.
And then you go, if I ever need to go back, I go to the mailbox.
And I just say, hey, mailbox.
No, that's your inbox. What you do is you take it out of the mailbox and then you put it in your top drawer. And the top drawer is bottomless.
But I don't want it in my top drawer.
What if my house burns down?
Metaphors to go there.
Deep.
What about you, Big G? What's happening?
What's happening? Start of this year, the month's gone quick. The month's gone very quick, and transition stuff's kind of well and truly alive. And I think I was speaking to Matt during the week about this, like with any transition, you think, it's going to be smooth. Oh, it's not smooth. It's rocky. It is rocky. I think all for due process, but navigating that a little bit. And just trying to plan some planning for July and go, I'm in two minds to do some space away and go somewhere. Yeah. To go away and do something, or to go roll into something next. So, yeah.
What do you think you'll do? What's the gut feel? What's the current?
The gut feel would be to go, take a intentional 2 week off somewhere-ish, but we'll just see what that looks like. But yeah, no, that's been alive. Trying to think what else is alive and going.
How do you go with? I haven't had to get out of. I haven't had to leave something. Oh, actually, no. When I sold my previous practice, I did have to transition out. But it was a really quick transition. Like the decision was made, and I transitioned out of it. But how are you going with such a long transition in staying focused, staying present, when you know that you're going to finish? How do you manage that?
Yeah, I think the staying it's really clear with the when I'm there, and when I'm not, I'm not. I'm trying to be clear with that. But I think for last 8 years when I'm not, I'm still there for everyone else, and I think it's an adjustment for them, where it's the expectation okay, hey, you know what, I can quickly send this and it gets actioned. And I think it's an adjustment for everyone else, which I'm learning, which is hard and easy and makes my world challenging. Where I'm like, hey, look, this is not me today. This is someone else, and I think that's hard. But it's also sometimes it's like, well, there's a lot to hand over, and it's like, well, it can't be a 4-week transition necessarily. But sometimes a 4-week transition is easier. It's like, all right, it's done. There's a line in the sand. So that makes it a lot easier. So yeah, it's really interesting. So listeners, we're just going to fucking call it out as it is. There's this background noise. Ben takes us to the studio, thinks it's going to be soundproof. This background noise you would have had this whole time. And then Ben walks out of the studio room and it's fucking locked, and that knock you heard, he's trying to be inconspicuous as a fucking
Trying to
knock
get back in.
Get back in the room. Did you sort out that fucking background noise?
No, it's in a speaker. They're playing the radio.
Can you fucking turn it down?
Station radio. I couldn't find any dials or knobs with the volume.
Turn them all.
Anywhere.
Every single knob in this studio.
I was going to get a ladder
ladder.
and take the speaker out.
There's a master control room.
Yeah.
That could be bad.
So I'm going to redirect our attention back to the question, because I have questions about Ben's question. Great question, by the way. You managed to ask a good question and slip out. No one would have known except for the... Please let me back in.
I was tapping really quietly, and then I realised you got headphones on. And you're not going to hear just a little gentle tap.
And then you waited, and then it went again.
As I'm reaching for the door, I'm like, this is interesting. So you were saying that the hardest part for the transition is the people's expectations of old you, which is if they send you a problem or an email, you get on it anytime. And I guess when you're invested and you're working somewhere, you just fix problems. Why wait? You just get it done, because otherwise it's going to fall on your list the next day. But when you're leaving, then it sounds like you're more protective over the space.
Yeah, time. So was there a question there?
Yeah, so I guess the question is, how are you dealing with other people's expectations? Like, are you just communicating that? And is there pain there? Because people expect a certain thing and they're not getting it. How are you navigating that?
Yeah, very poorly. Very poorly. Obviously not communicating enough. And their expectations are still the same, and you're like, well, hold on, I'm here 4 days a week, and I finish at 6, and sorry, no, and there was not enough detail in that message, and that's going to have to wait till Tuesday, and that's cool.
Whereas the old you would have...
I just would have got it done.
Yeah.
I would have got it done and filled in the blanks and going, all right, I know it needs to get in Monday, I'll get in early, I'll do it Sunday night. I can just get it done, but I'm like, oh no, hold on. I need to get my other shit done on Sunday, because I want a soft landing when it finishes. Not like I go, all right, this is it, because you know what reality is, in less than 5 months I'm out. So it's like, oh, hold on. I need to continually build this other thing, and so that's interesting. That's interesting. It's easier for me than others, but the pain it's causing is making it hard. So that's why I said it was rocky. Yeah. So
what do you do? How do you manage that?
Continuously to seek clarity and go, okay, I've got X amount of time and to the hour now. So I'm like, all right, I've got 20 hours this week. Just really clear. What do you want me to do for these 20 hours? I can make that decision, but what do you want? Because then the organisation's got different priorities sometimes than what I think, so which is fine. I'm like, great. But then there's no more than 20 hours. I'm like, and other things are going to drop, and someone else has got to pick them up. And so, continuously communicate through clarity. Easier said than done. And there's a level of detachment that I have, which I need to probably communicate better, because I'm like, all right, look, I care, but these are the recommendations, but I don't really care on how we move forward. Because I'm not here. Like, But like on reality, I'm not here. So this will come into play in 8 months' time, but I'm not here. You guys choose. I'm like, oh no. So
The challenge is communicating that you're not attached, but you still care, because sometimes that can be misinterpreted as you just don't care.
because I say I don't care. Like, oh, I don't care. Like, I don't mind. Like, I honestly don't care. Like, I care for the success of the company and the team and all that, but you choose. I just don't care. And like, that's like a, oh, well, fuck it, you just don't want to do anything. I'm like, no, I do. Just make a decision. Let's not fucking piss fire around the bush.
Isn't it always bloody communication?
Everything. Just a word. Because what you mean by I don't care is I'm not attached. I care. I want it to go well, but I'm not attached to it being my way because I'm not going to be here. That's what you mean, right?
Like, old me would have been attached to go, all right, I don't like the way we're doing it, and there might be a bit of tension, a bit of conflict, and then we go good. But I'm like, there's not worth to go to battle, because I'm like, I don't have to carry this out. I'm just holding it for a little bit, and then that's fine.
So not attached. Whereas you say that to somebody, I don't care, they're like, that's not a trigger. They're like, yeah, cool, get it. But you say that to another person and they go, you don't care. What the fuck are you doing here? You don't care. I pay you to care.
I think it's that's that equanimity, that you were asking me about with Eden, and her baby and giving birth, and you're excited about it. I go, well, like, it's not my baby. It's their baby, and it's their thing, and they're going to be parents, and it's not for me to. It's not my thing. It's not my, for the want of a better term, it's not my problem. They're grown-ups. So,
problem? What do you mean by that?
Well,
not your problem.
Kids, anyone who's got kids that are listening, they are just constant problems to be solved. So I'm not excited. It's just this equanimity. It's like this just kind of neutralness, which I think many of us struggle with at times, is being in that neutral place. But communication, I think about, my team. I had a recent communication challenge with one of my team members, and it's just like, how did we not hear each other properly? How did we not get the message across? And I think about that in my relationship too, with Michelle, or with the kids, or just getting the communication right. And it's interesting because we are such complex communicators. Like, I think we communicate. Maybe, I don't know whether we communicate better than many other species, but I think our lives have got more complicated. Therefore, the level of communication and clarity has got to become more complicated or more concise.
But do you think we communicate better than other species? Where you look at like other species, animals across the planet, you can tell when they're angry. You can tell when they're affectionate. They're not necessarily passive aggressive. They're not like, the other animal, other partner's not going to go, I wonder what that means. It's fucking really clear. Well, I think it's clear. Where there's not like this is my intention. Oh, fuck, this is, now I got to worry about my intention's not someone's perception, now their reality. It's like, well, fuck, it's really somewhat really clear. I think I think we just complicate shit for the sake, not mostly for the sake of complicating. Like, things just need to keep it simple. If we think things simple, and we were talking about this, maybe, you're talking about if a baby's ready, but like it's complicated with, I get why it's a little bit like scans, timelines, all that, health precautions, and then but all that is just, it complicates it. Like, if you strip everything back and go, hey, look, I want to communicate this to you. We don't do that usually. It's only I only do that when I fuck it up and I have to go back and go, hey, look, just want to clarify, this was my intention.
I think though one of the things that's changed is we used to have tribes and smaller tribes. We could work out 20 people. We learnt the nuances of those people. And I think about Bromley, our dog, and he lives at home with us, and he's worked out the nuances of Michelle and I. When I've got my black shorts on, what does that mean? It means you might be going for a run. And so therefore I have to say, do you want to go for a run? And I've got black shorts on, the two come together. He understands those nuances. But because we're so complicated, so diverse, and we can communicate across the globe, we don't know those nuances with other people that we're communicating with. They're from different tribes. Yeah. Even within our own organisation, our own team members come from different tribes. We've recently hired this absolute legend myotherapist that's working for us, Chad Chad, by the way, sounds like Maddie looks. Maddie looks like a Chad, right?
Take that as a compliment.
Matt, if you've seen Matt, he's got this, he's got his long kind of hair. He looks like he's just come off the surfboard and ripped his wetsuit off. And the name Chad. Anyway, one of our front desk team, Charlie, had never met Chad. And she's turned up and and I said, oh, Chad's in today. She goes, Chad, what's he like? I said, what do you think he might be like? And she's drawn she's literally drawn you, right? She's literally drawn you. And I go, that's exactly what he's like. He'll be in it too, right? So
Nothing
she's
like
picturing Matt's going to turn up. Well, Chad is actually South Korean, and he's just a fraction off Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un, or whatever your name is. So, like, nothing like Chad. Anyway, so Chad's South Korean, totally different tribe to Aussies, right? Like, totally different tribe, culturally, background, every layer that you could possibly imagine. And so those nuances of communication, neither of us are picking them up.
Yeah, like one of the greatest parts of human evolution is that prefrontal cortex, the ability to be able to think about thinking. That's also, I think, the added complexity of communication, because it's not just what you say is what you mean anymore. Do you know what I mean? We're talking about animals. An animal just acts. I'm assuming. I've never interviewed one, but they don't think about thinking. A dog just behaves, or an animal does its thing. But we can think about, we ace ourselves out. So I might react to something not the way that I wanted to react because I was in my head thinking about not wanting to make a good impression, for example. I think that plays a huge part into it too. Like if you separate two people from the exact same environment, same country, same culture, same upbringing, can still miss each other.
Oh, 100%.
Completely. Like it's wild, that complexity.
Even same household, right?
Same family.
Yeah, same family. But I think it's also everyone's got an individual experience, right? Like in terms of how they get communicated to or how they communicate. So coaches, parents, teachers, workplace, and then it's like that creates a lens, right? And everyone in the world does not have. There's no like one-to-one experience, human experience. Everyone's having their own experience. So then their filter, there's no same filter anymore. It's impossible. So then the way, say, we chat, or the way I say I chat to you, Ben, is potentially different to the way I might say the same thing, but you both interpret it differently. Right? I don't know if there's any way really around that until you keep clarifying, because their filters are different.
Yeah, that's where one of two favourite sayings, apart from the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree and grey rabbits have grey bunnies, is we live in a meaningless world that we put meaning to, and then the overlapping saying is the meaning of your communication is the response you get.
Then say that again.
The meaning of your communication is the response you get. So if I communicated to Janesh something and he responds different to what my intended communication was to him, that's because I didn't communicate properly. The meaning of my communication is the response you give me. And so this is where when someone doesn't respond back, we go, I needed to communicate even better. I need to repeat myself. I need to draw a picture. I need to understand their body language and use my body language better. So the meaning of a communication is the response you get.
Why do you think, though, that what you just said then, that's not common practice, though, right? To go, I need to communicate better because either it's lack of response or the response is not great. It's not, usually it's like, that person's a dick. That person's a bitch. Like, you know what? And it's always, there's no mirror. There's no mirror. It's like, it's that person. It's not like hold on, that didn't land. So it's obviously I didn't communicate it better. How do I, instead of doing it again and doing it louder, right? The same way that didn't work, they go, oh, let's just do it louder.
That's a strategy people use.
Yeah, but it doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, exactly.
It blows up, and then there's some resolution. But usually it should be like a.
It's louder and slower. Why are you
Stupid.
Don't you find that when you talk to someone that's obviously from another country, your kind of voice goes up and you talk slower?
Yeah.
And it works. Not.
Not at all. Just want to point out to our listeners, Matt was giving us shit on coming over to the dark side now. I did take a photo. Matt has moved his mic off the desk.
I've been jonesed.
And he asked us how long it would be.
Freedom. Ben just drew the lead out. Now I know what a dog feels like, tethered to a pole. Just got another foot of freedom. The communication thing is super interesting because there's just so many layers of complexity for something that's so simple. I'm just trying to tell you something. Men and women is another category, right?
But like, for example, this morning, Ben wanted a little marmalade, a little jam. And it was like they took instead of 20 seconds, Ben standard, they took maybe 25 seconds. And at 19 seconds, Ben was getting agitated. It's like, where's my fucking jam? And I had to ask again because it's not that hard. But maybe they were already making it.
Making the jam.
Maybe the
like
jam
crushing the strawberries, adding the sugar, boiling it.
He couldn't have been clearer.
Jam
Like, he
setup.
couldn't have said, can I have raspberry flavoured jam on this table in 25 seconds?
No.
That level of clarity is borderline rude. Like, it'll get there when it gets there. It might be 40 seconds.
You know, like,
But it wasn't good enough. With his common folk question before, he's like, fucking, come on, mate. I'm by the water here. Come on.
We're in a yacht club.
Yeah, I'm at a yacht club. I'm not at fucking Surfers Paradise. I'm in Broad Beach, and where the common folk isn't here, I want some fucking service.
Yeah, look, it's just common sense. Guy's got toast. It's going cold. He doesn't want cold toast, really, with jam. He wants warm toast.
But it was a common sense. Maybe he doesn't have jam on his toast.
Yeah,
He
in
doesn't
his
know.
mind, he's like, you've got warm toast, now enjoy it.
And you got butter there, enjoy it.
He didn't even think. Maybe he saw you and he went, that's a specimen. There's no way he's going to be having sugary jam on his toast.
Yeah.
He's counting calories.
Yeah.
He doesn't eat sugar, that guy.
And you know what? I'm going to do him a favour and take it longer, and so he gets to second guess his choice.
You're intermittent fasting.
I'm
right now.
actually helping him. He doesn't know it, but I'm helping him.
No, I just don't think he had any idea.
No,
Or cared, maybe.
Yeah, and again, that's many communications response you get, and that's on me. But maybe it's also on the leader of the cafe. You know, not communicating to his team, not training team properly around customer service, and just some simple stuff. Because we think everyone grows up with the same values or the same standards or the same level of education as us, but sometimes not. That kid might have grown up in a house that just didn't have standards around food or...
He was from overseas. I heard him talking to someone else. He was one of those, I'm guessing, North American, come to Australia, travelling, going to do the East Coast in 3 months' time, but he's saving some money.
What country is that? North America?
I think he was
You mean
like
South or Central?
South America.
maybe North. Yeah, maybe.
North is the big one, mate.
Yeah, maybe. No, like he was.
North America's like Canada.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was Canadian or American. Like close to the border.
Up there.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking more like Chilean.
No, he's definitely North American. Canada or America, I think. I heard him talking to an old guy because neither of you were there, so I was there for a while. And
But even with that, though, it's not common practice anymore on hello, how are you to strangers. Like, because we were like, this guy's not smiling. He's not having a great day.
because he doesn't get tips in this part of the world. He's like, bloody hell, when I'm at home, I make a fortune in tips. These guys never tip.
But like, it's not like it's weird to hear someone say, oh, like they sometimes last week, 3 people and they were just surprised. I was like, hey, how's your day going? And like, what was great today? And they're like, oh, just yep, that will be $5.50. And I'm like, you didn't answer my question. I was just waiting, and they're like, oh yeah. And I was like, fucking, they were just awkward. I'm like, there's no one behind me. You don't have anything else to do, and they just don't know how to communicate. Or they don't want to engage.
You know when you outperform a server by being more polite than them,
Yes.
and there's that awkward moment where they're like, Well, I don't know what to say now because you've said all the things. Hello, how are you? How's your day going? Money.
Does that happen to you a lot?
Mate, I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
You are the outperformer.
Surprise, right? So in Woolies or any of those places that do the obligatory, hi, how are you? They do hi, how are you? And then they're reaching for the first thing to scan or they're reaching for their thing to type in your coffee order. And I just pause and go, I'm good, but more importantly, how are you? And I look at them in the eye, and I hold the eye, I hold the stare, and it's the look of I really want to know. And if you give me a superficial answer, I'm going to dig deeper. And you can see that, and their fingers hovering above the button to take the coffee order.
I can feel my lunch break coming on. It's overwhelming.
This is busy.
And then their other hand is reaching under the bench, hitting the red button.
Help, aisle 2, please. Aisle 2.
That's funny.
I ran this morning. I went to the gym, boys. Actually, I got up, did a meditation, went to the gym, then went for a run, and then went for a swim. But anyway, while you guys were...
All right, Mr. Overachiever.
Anyway,
layering, stacking.
I went for a run, but I forgot my headphones. And I always run with my headphones, right? I'm listening to music. Anyway, but I still say hello to everyone, but I don't know whether they say hello back because I've got my headphones in.
Rude.
Anyway.
Rude. One-way communicator over here. One-way communicator.
I didn't have my headphones. So I'm running this morning, and I'm saying hello to everyone. And what I noticed was...
They're responding?
No one says hello back. Because I could hear them, and there was nothing to hear. So
got a question.
I also have a question. I've got mine ready.
What was the... Yeah, but I was trying to be fucking not stereotypical, but I will. What was the demographic of the people you were saying hello to?
Mate, I got to say, I did get a couple of hellos, to be honest, but they were from the youngies.
Really?
Yeah.
I get nothing from the youngies.
Right.
I get from the old people. I go, good morning, good evening. And they're like, yeah, good, how are you? And I'm like, you've asked me another question, but I'm running past. I'm like, do I stop? I don't know you. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, good, cool. But yeah, from the oldies, not the youngies.
It might have been because the two youngies that I'm thinking of, I ran up behind and they didn't know I was coming. And then I just got behind them and then I yelled out, hello, good morning. So they were kind of shocked into actually having to respond. I think
that reaction. Like a flight of light. Oh, look at easy. Am I going to get jumped here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're a very interesting communicator with strangers.
Yeah, I like to play up a little bit.
I do too. I like to practice on strangers to read their body language, and I go the other way though. Sometimes Ben's going with the "How are you?" I just tell them how I am. When they ask me, they say, "How are you?" I go, "Actually, today's a little bit stressful because I got this going on, or this going on, but I'm doing my best to maintain a fantastic attitude. How about you?" And they're like, "Don't want to ask this guy any more questions." There's a line behind me, so honestly answer their "How are you?" question.
Yeah,
I was surprised, and was it a couple of weeks ago? We went to a service station with Si and Zaid. We stopped to get some ice cream, and Zaid goes to the guy's not like just monotone. Yep, here, and Zaid's like, "How was your day?" And I was like,
"That's gold."
And I was like, "Oh, okay." And we pay, and I'm about to leave. She goes, "Sorry, how's your day?"
I'll wait for your answer.
And she just stood there, and I was like. I just tried not to laugh. He's like, "Oh, very good, thank you." He goes, "Keep smiling," and just walks off. And I was like, "What the fuck were you?" And I was like, "Fucking God." She goes, "Well, I'm going to ask again because obviously you may not have heard me." But he was like trying to no eye contact with a little 6-year-old that can barely see over the thing. She steps back so she can see his eyes. He goes, "Sorry, how are you? How was your day?" And I'm like.
That's good, mate.
I love
that she said, I'll wait for your response to my question.
Our mate that was at the cafe this morning, his parent obviously didn't teach him, or he didn't get to, not you haven't taught Zaid that. No. She's seen that, yeah? And, I often say that to parents, the kids are looking at more at what you do rather than what you say. Yeah, so rather than what you tell them, it's like, what are you demonstrating?
That's the team too. Oh, the lead just jumped out. Going back to the team as well. Literally, that was my last conversation with our leaders on Friday. Was they're not going to hear what you say, but they'll do what you do. So you can say what to do all day long. They're never going to do it. But if they see you do it, then we got a chance. So kids are the same, hey?
Yeah.
I think that's why some teams follow leaders that they see do the things that they ask. Instead of saying, look, I've been there. I've cleaned the toilets. I've put the towels in the washing machine and made it. You can say all that, but if they see a leader doing that even once, they're like, oh, fuck it, all right. They're happy to roll their sleeves up. I'll do anything because you know what? Ben's happy to do the things that, and I've seen him do the things that he's asking me to do. I know other people tell me, but seeing it goes so much further.
I'll tell you the hardest thing is when you have a staff member, this happened to me the other day, who's got a sore ankle and thinks that they can't finish their day of work. And they say to me, oh, you don't understand. And I'm thinking to myself, I completely understand. I've run this course about 100 times with a rolled ankle. I know exactly what you're going through, and I know that if you quit and you don't do it, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to build the resilience. You're not going to have any more self-belief. So I know they should do it. But when they look at you and they go, oh, you don't understand, and you know, like same with the house, staff house, living in a staff house, they're like, oh, you don't understand. I'm 38 years old. I've lived in staff houses for many, many years. The problems that you're going through haven't changed. They're the same. They'll be the same with the next group of people. The problems are pretty much, they just repeat themselves. I find that really hard when someone's looking at you and they believe that you don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, oh, I wish I could just
show you my life.
Yeah.
Boys, mate, good chat. I'm conscious of time. Do we want to
what's our takeaways?
Bring it to a kind of conclusion with some key takeaways?
Yeah, let's make sense of all this madness.
Well, my takeaway is that we live in a multicultural society. I started with Asian, Greek, Korean,
and your
with
accent
American,
for all of them is the same.
German.
That's my takeaway.
Yeah, it usually starts off Chinese, goes Indian, and then disintegrates into something. Yeah.
I would agree with that statement.
My take on that is Ben likes to segregate himself from the common folk and likes to live with the upper echelon people, and usually might be white, Caucasian, German. What's the I was going to say a term, but probably not. So what was your take? Where are you going with that?
I guess quite seriously, my takeaway was a very clever comment that I said, which was that, you know, we live in a very multicultural, multi-tribal society, whereas in the old days we all hung out in the one tribe. We knew our tribe. We knew how our tribe communicated. And, you know, just to have a better awareness that the person that we're talking to may have a different language, literally and metaphorically, around how they communicate. And it is our responsibility, if we want to communicate a message, to communicate to them in their language, in a way that they'll understand us.
Yeah, and that's applicable anywhere, right? I think I liked that. The ownership is on you. If you're communicating something and you want someone to understand your world, then you have to be flexible with how you communicate. You can't communicate in the way you would process information. You've got to think, how does this person receive information? If you don't know, then you've probably got to explain it in minimum 3 ways: visually, tell them, and maybe show them. And you're probably going to get it across. But we're lazy and we just communicate the way that I receive it, and you can just tell me and I'll get it. So I just tell you and expect you to get it.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, a combination of the two is like continually ask how someone wants to be communicated to, because as time goes, everyone's got different experiences and they have new experiences. So the way you may have communicated to them 6 months ago, a year ago, may have changed. And you're communicating on that like old data, like update your data, right? And go, all right, how do you want to be communicated to? If it's not hitting the mark, yeah, okay. And then alter your approach. But I think you got to do that temperature check and go, how do you want to be communicated to? Because the way I'm doing it right now, it's not working. And then be okay to say it's not working.
And just one thing came up then, because I know that when people say know how to communicate, often the people we communicate to don't know. So helping them find out will mean that relationship and the future communication will go well, right? Because if I say, how do you receive information? Ben might go, I don't know, through words. Like, but actually Ben's visual, like mainly visual. And if I draw you a picture, you get it straight away. So yeah, if you're in a family or a team, working out how people receive information might be helpful.
Yeah. Great chat, fellas. As always. Listeners, thanks for listening. And until next time, have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Lifelong Learner. If you like this episode and want to know more and hear other episodes, head over to lifelonglearnerpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter, where you'll be the first to know when new podcast episodes come out. And if you want to say hello, tell us a joke, or ask us a question, send us an email at hello@lifelonglearnerpodcast.com. Thanks again.